All right, hello, and welcome to this episode of Fargonauts. I'm here with my Broichi boys. Say hello, Broichi boys.
Hello,
Hello.
Broichi boys.
So we're gathered here today to
Yeah.
discuss a very well-known Twin Peaks-inspired episode of the show Psych.
Yeah. That's right, psychos.
All right, Bradshaw, hit us with
So,
the parody name of this episode.
the parody name of this episode is Dual Spires.
So,
Get it?
yeah, give us some
It's a little breakdown.
yeah, a little breakdown of like, is that the name
a
of the
break.
town, or is it?
Yeah.
Is it like in the universe of Psych, like based on, like if you remember the first season of the Twin Peaks show, they had like that soap opera. Is there like a relation
Right.
to like an alternate
Nope.
story?
It's just a small town that they go to. There's a reason they go to it, which you'll see in the episode here. But yeah, it's just a small town. The name of the town.
Nice.
yeah.
Just a small town boy.
I'd like
Y'all-
to know, Wilson, have you
Yeah.
seen this one?
No, I have not.
Okay, cool. I remember seeing it one time, and it was just on a whim. I was like, I'll watch this. And I think it was actually airing on TV, so I had no idea if this was just going to be what this show's about.
Right.
And I never followed Psych, really, because it was just one of those... It was a
Just a USA
USA kind
show.
of like...
procedural show, like the million they had on at the time.
Exactly.
It's just Monk and this, and Burn Notice.
They followed
yeah,
a
if
formula, too.
They just kind of added a quirk to it to make it different.
Yeah, it's like, do the same detective
with each
thing.
show.
yeah.
If anybody's unfamiliar, Psych is a show about a character named Shawn Spencer, whose father was a police detective, and when he was growing up, his father put him through the paces, like teaching him how to be very perceptive and whatever, with hopes of him becoming a detective someday, kind of trying to kind of mold him into this like really good detective. So which you see through flashbacks and stuff in this, and the result of that is Shawn being very, very perceptive to the point of being able to notice and call out some very
Esoteric
very-
information.
yeah, kind of out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere. And also having a not great relationship with his father because of it. He comes back to town at the beginning of the show, kind of gets into it, and kind of through various things ends up becoming a consultant with the police department, a psychic consultant, and he harangues his childhood friend Gus, who is a full-time pharmaceutical rep, salesperson, to open a business together, a psychic detective business called Psych, where they take on cases from the public and from the police department. And it's good ensemble cast.
Yeah, and we're about to see more of that cast expand into the realm of Twin Peaks now.
I was gonna say it's a lot of the show has a lot to do with 80s and early 90s nostalgia. So a lot of things get referenced through dialogue or theming episodes after or whatever. Hence how we got the Twin Peaks episode. But yeah, a lot of fun.
Do you guys think it's
Unlike
that simple?
stuff.
Say it again, Wilson.
Do you guys think it's that simple?
What?
Might be.
Could the three of us just rent an office space and open up a Broichi business?
Yeah.
I don't know,
LLC?
agency or something.
Cheap business.
Yeah, Broichi Boys
yeah,
LLC.
We just take cases. We
Well,
you know.
I've talked
Broichi Boys
with.
that do business.
I have talked with briefly with lawyers because sometimes lawyers' time is money. So like I was just
Yep.
asking for information about starting an LLC, but you could pretty much just apply for an LLC anytime. You don't need to go through a lawyer or anything like that. But that's the one thing you need to start with first is the LLC, and then you kind of start, getting clients, and then fulfilling those obligations.
Sure, that's all well and good. I just mainly want to
Yeah.
we'll get an office. We'll all come in every day.
You don't work. You kind of work
Depending
out of your
on what we
house,
do,
and then you
You're
eventually
missing
get
the point.
into it.
Depending on what we would do, we just need. We might need some licensing or whatever, but for whatever we do, and probably some loans. But that's other than that, we
Well,
can just Broichi Boy Business LLC, dude.
one of us can be a PI.
Yeah.
One of us can be forklift certified.
Yep.
And one of us can go to cosmetology school and be certified to cut hair.
There we go.
That way we create a environment. We have a small corner of the shop where we give haircuts, and it creates an environment of clientele. Who
We just
we get
pivot
this
to a barber shop.
Be like business description. What do you guys do? We create environments.
We create environments. We also cut hair.
We
Pick
create
from
environment-
one of
What kind
these
of
three pictures.
What kind of environments do you create? Well, environments where distinguished gentlemen like to attend to improve their standing and renew themselves in a way. Well, what do you mean? Well, we cut their hair.
We sometimes shave their face if they ask.
If you ever need someone to plan your Hork-Bajir celebrations, we are available.
And they're like,
Yeah,
wait, hold
that's
up,
our
hold
thing,
up.
is-
What is Hork-Bajir? And we're like, that's classified.
We won't do Haze Fang though.
That's our
Just
trade
Hork-Bajir.
secret. We can't really tell you that, or else that's we're getting in some hot water
Yeah.
there.
It's proprietary information.
Yeah.
What we do is we hand them a packet that has all of the information that discloses to them exactly what we can and cannot say about what Hork-Bajir is.
Well, it just gives
Yeah,
out
yeah,
like the list of what Broadshow posted. It was just like Shadowplay, Congress. It's like, what are these things? Well, you'll have to come
if
to
you
the
agree
seminar.
to participate in Hork-Bajir, you will participate in the following events.
Seminar is like a fucking timeshare. Fuck.
Well, guys,
You must come here.
I think we totally started a business, and just like Psych, we're gonna segue back into this show.
I just want to have an office with the three of us where we all like wait in the office. We kick our feet up. And we have like, I don't know, maybe Broadshow can be our gal Friday. Who knows? But
Yeah.
we just kick our feet up and wait for people to come up and come to us and be like, I got a case I got for you.
Dude, that's basically what this is, dude. They just chilling, watching TV, eating snacks, and fucking whatever, and then shit happens.
I'm excited
Alright.
to jump into this episode because it seems like it's just like a one-off. Maybe it has
Yep.
something to do with the plot thread, coursing through the season or whatever it is. But
Most of
I-
these are like one and dones. There's a couple things that hang over, but they're usually like episodes specifically dedicated to that overarching story. So like,
Understood.
pretty easy to just pop into the show.
Right. Yeah, they're kind of formulated like that where you can just like pick
Mhm.
up anywhere and be like, oh, okay, cool. But I'm also going to be picking out some of the references to Twin Peaks.
A lot of references and Easter eggs, so keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited for. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled and we'll pick out some. I'm going to try not to be like, oh, there's one.
Right.
Pointing my finger at the screen, being like, got it, that one. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Alright.
we'll discuss some of them in our discussion portion. So let's dive in, boys.
Dude, do you know they make silent window shades?
All right, guys.
Poor Paula.
Uh,
Poor sweet Paula.
So we just got done watching Dual Spires.
Yeah.
A pretty good parody of Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
What this was missing was a lot of the darkness or the forebodingness.
Yeah.
I mean, they kept it lighthearted for the majority of this whole episode because everything took place.
Kept it in line with the rest of the show.
Yeah, but I could
Yeah.
see the reverence they were giving to Twin Peaks and the
Mhm.
from the characters to the names of certain things and events,
Music.
music. There's a lot of that tissue that held together Twin Peaks embedded in here.
Look, the location manager, Rich Renaud.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is just, it hit like you said, like so many different notes, whether it be through scripting or casting or music or like locations or just all these different ways of referencing it. It was really good.
Yeah, it's what I like too is it's not like it's easy for something to be surface level, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, we saw that a lot with the like post Lynch episodes of Twin Peaks where they were trying to like, let's just make things weird and whatever because David Lynch or whatever. Where this actually kind of like it's a little deeper than that. Like it's actual homaging certain things, and it's actually like, you know, it's not just kind of a just a weird blanket over the top of the show, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. No, that's why I think like they really cared about the source material that they were gonna emulate,
Right.
and they wanted to do it justice by like bringing back some of the original cast, and then
Yep.
playing with that fun idea of like a small town murder, and they went full into small town by everybody
Yeah,
riding a bike or walking around, and I love that aspect of it. Like you could faintly see, I saw one car drive probably on like a rural road in the background for one scene, but everybody, the attention to detail of everybody either walking or riding a bike was great.
Oh yeah. Got Julie Cruz back to do the version of the theme song too.
Yeah, and that final song, like where she's like,
Yeah.
someone calls someone. Like I want to
Yeah.
listen to some of those songs.
Someone call someone.
Well, unless she was naming people. Like,
Oh, can that be our theme song for our little agency where we take cases?
Someone call someone.
Someone call someone. Who do we call? Call the Broidy Boys. Bum, 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 bum.
Phone number not yet listed.
And create environment.
1-800 Brad.
Brad.
Yeah, the episode basically kicks off with them getting an invite to this small town for a cinnamon festival, which they're jacked about. They go to it. They discover it's just a very small town. But yeah, I mean, from the get-go, they get in there, it's all weird and stuff, and they go to the diner, and, you know, it hits you right away. You got Dana Ashbrook, a.k.a. Bobby, in there as Bob Barker. You got fucking what's-her-nuts. Is it Cheryl Lee? No. What's her name?
Oh, Teen Witch? I can find it real quick. But yeah, she was the belly dancer and the
The Black Widow. She's his wife. And then you got old boy right here popping in. And he plays the sheriff, who's keeping with Harry Truman. His name's Andrew Jackson. Yeah, I mean, Ray Wise, who was already on an episode or two.
Robin Lively,
there you go. Yeah, Ray Wise, who's already on an episode or two of Psych, comes in as well.
He's a treat. I mean, whenever he pops in, he seems like he's a fun little element of the show.
I mean, he was definitely having a great time. Like his character, and probably Ray Wise himself was having a great time making this. But like, he was just having a fun time all the way through this. Even when he was being held at gunpoint, he was just having a wonderful time.
Just couldn't stop smiling. You know, like, hey, there's got to be a special category for me, right?
With everything that happened, like all the stops that they pulled out to get some of these like references and nods and things, I am a little bit surprised that Ray Wise did not do any amount of singing or dancing.
Right.
Even just a tiny little bit, like would have been I think apropos for a way to reference the show.
Right. You got Laura Palmer herself. That's Cheryl Lee, right?
Yeah,
I believe
that's Cheryl Lee.
Yeah. She back as the Dr. Donna Gooden. It's like literally like every scene has some sort of homage or Easter egg to Twin Peaks. I mean, there's that golf book that was written by Earl Wyndham, You know what I
So
mean? Like,
total, I kept a tally throughout the
yeah,
episode of every time that I noticed something,
yeah,
and I counted 58. And that I don't know how accurate that actually is, but like
yeah.
that's what I counted.
It's about right.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
It's
I
yeah.
was I was
I
kind of
mean,
like
it.
going or making a noise. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I
The very
tried
first,
not
the
to
very
call
first
it
shot
every
of
one, but
this,
it's like,
like literally the first shot of this, it contains a reference where it's a chocolate bunny, and then the
yep,
very next thing is the Shawn guy saying, "Do you know there's silent drape runners or whatever he says?"
Yeah.
yeah. Silent Draper is invented by a woman in
Some woman
Washington
in
State.
Washington in the '90s invented them.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, there was like 5 references in the first fucking like 20 seconds.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, like you said, it really is every scene, and
Uh-huh.
it.
And they're
I'm
not
sure if
like
you.
See what we
Mhm,
did there? Like, you know what I mean? They're just there. Like the
mhm.
fucking the trophy for winning the Cinnamon King thing was an owl, right?
Mhm.
Right.
Bunch of donuts. It was a fucking um
The only
yeah.
time that it was very like overt was at the very end, but that was like uh, way
Right.
more for
Yeah,
like
exactly.
comedic purposes, like the ramping up of everything at the end of the episode to just go out on a
Yep.
funny note.
Log lady. That
Fucking
was
log
great.
lady
That was
shows up.
amazing to see that the white horse just in the
Okay.
background.
Yep. And yeah, it was like they got to the end and like, what didn't we hit on? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And what
Yeah,
did we get? Man from the other
giant.
place. Yeah, the giant, the eye patch, you know what I mean? Like all that
Yeah,
stuff.
you got 2 for 1 with some of this stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
The eye
Yeah,
patch
I
was
mean,
great,
yeah, like you were pointing out the guy who was Cinnamon King, Randy Jackson. He's kind of like both Bobby and fucking James at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm. And the guy who played the Jack character,
Yeah.
his character felt like a mixture between like James and Harold Smith, the recluse, the agoraphobe,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yep.
I didn't know if the photography was like I'm trying to think of things that like I said earlier, like the cinnamon. There were a few things that I was trying to notice that I was like, is this something I should be reading more into? There was a little bit here in the cabin where I was like, it seems like maybe the decor or something about the
Right.
inside could be a nod in one way or another, but I didn't really notice anything. Not maybe besides the fact that there are like, look at the curtains in the background.
Yeah.
They're
Definitely a
Like the Red
reference.
Room.
but they're also like extra long where they go down past where the floor is.
Right. True.
I don't know if that's typical. That just seems like an ill fit to me. I don't know.
They were going
Um,
for the red room vibe. Even
Yeah,
the wood
and
looks
then
red.
even yeah,
Right.
and if you
The
go
lodge.
forward, like I don't know, 10-15 seconds when fucking the sheriff and Laura Palmer bust in, she's standing in front of one of the curtains at one point, so it's very like
Oh yeah.
in the like kind of like medium wide that they have of the two of them standing shoulder to shoulder, her and the sheriff. Yeah, she's like perfectly framed. Oh god, Danny Ashbrook there, right there. She's like perfectly framed in front of the curtains in the background there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. One of the ones I always like too is that pointed out is one of the recurring jokes is whenever they go to like talk to someone or interview someone, he introduces himself and then he introduces his partner Gus by like a made up name. And in this episode, the made up name was Lodge Blackman after Black Lodge, which was pretty
Yeah.
fun. Lodge Blackman. But yeah, it's the the Laura Palmer character was Paula Merrill. You know what I mean? Which is just like a portmanteau of Laura Palmer.
hmm
Um, yeah, and then it's just solving the murder essentially. Still kicks into the psych of it all every once in a while. But it's a nice, consistent tone, and it's like a lot of the episodes is it just kind of it moves. You know what I mean? It doesn't hang around too long at something.
Yeah.
Um, which leads to it feeling like you're just like, oh, dude, there's just a million fucking Easter eggs up in here,
Yeah, it
which
really
there are.
does.
But
It really does.
That was more fun for me than the actual murder, solving the murder. It was just like the
Right,
references that were
yeah.
popping
Mhm.
on.
yeah, and you
I
can tell that was the primary focus of this episode is the homage. You know what I mean? It's not the murder or whatever. It's just the fun of what they're doing. You know.
Yeah.
That being said, I can see how this would be like if I was somebody who was just watching Psych and wasn't familiar at all with Twin Peaks.
Mhm.
I could see how this could just like roll by as an episode, and it would
Right.
probably be memorable because of some of the stuff that happens or like some of the vibes that go
It's,
on. But other than
it's
that,
so
it's like a
oddly specific too. Like I said, like a lot of them, not till later in the series, and for very specific reasons, do they redo the theme song. You know what I mean?
mhm.
And this one has that, so it's a very oddly specific episode. So if you had no idea what they were doing here, you're like, what the fuck is this? You know what I
I think
mean?
this guy's also
Maybe,
like a Leo
but
Johnson. I'm just realizing that.
oh, absolutely, yeah, he's
Yeah,
like a Leo
yeah,
because there's
there's
moments where
Leo
he's
in
like
there.
staring and just spacing out when he's playing
Yeah.
dark.
And he's also the Bobby, because look, he's tying his shirt around his
Yeah,
face.
it
He's
just
wearing
looks
a
like
red.
Bobby.
That is totally a Bobby outfit. It's
Yeah.
a
But
Bobby
I
dream.
do think that like there
But he has
could
the James
truly
crying fit too.
be watching this and just like, oh, this is just like a fun little weird episode that they're doing. Okay,
Yep.
and then you
Yep.
never learn anything more about Twin Peaks ever in your life, and you just view this as like a one-off. Like, okay,
Yep.
that's something weird and fun that I don't really,
Cool.
I don't get the reference, but it was still a good episode of Psych.
Right.
It reminds me a lot of different shows that just do a one-off episode
Right.
where it has nothing to do with the style or format of the original, like how the original show is like run. And there's been a few shows, like there is an episode of the show Felicity, which
Right.
is a very of its time, early 2000s, 90s kind of show where a girl follows a guy to college because she just, fell in love with him. But there was an
Right.
episode later in the series run where they just did an homage to all the Hitchcock kind of tropes, and
I was gonna say they do that in this too. There's a overall Hitchcock homage episode of Psych as well.
I think that's a safe kind of tropey thing to follow, because I've seen it not just done in Felicity but in other things too, in other shows.
It's one a lot of people know, and it's very visual.
Yeah.
Hitchcock's, it's very visual, and you can get it. You're like, oh yeah, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. With like the music and the
Shots and the
shots, black and white, even just making it in black and white, you can do that.
boom in the shot.
But some of this stuff, who knows if a lot of people got the reference right off the bat?
Yeah,
if they haven't
right.
seen Twin Peaks. But I think this is the only one that I know of that has done like a full-on like Twin Peaks theme episode. I know that there are shows that have done their version of like, here's a character like Twin Peaks, but just in this show now. They didn't do a full-on homage of the show in itself.
Right.
But this is a great adaptation, a great parody, a great, that you could tell it was made with love from the of the original source material. So
Wasn't shallow. Yeah, there's actually a love for the thing. And it was, it's light and fun. Yeah.
And I guess Gus played the character of, the crying cop, like Andy. I thought that was
Pretty much, yeah.
because Gus would always cry at the scene, and he's like, I'm just, I'm a social crier, or whatever he said.
Yeah. Oh.
But yeah,
So yeah.
it's a good episode. I'd recommend just watching this one. Maybe look up different styles of episodes maybe Psych has done to play homage to
To give you a
other things.
baseline, maybe. Yeah. And you could, like I said, there's other episodes of this that feature Twin Peaks actors as well. The very first episode has the character or the actor that played Major Briggs in it as like the killer or the murderer of that episode. There's an episode that has Maginamic or whatever her name is.
Yep.
There's an episode that's got Miguel Ferrer. There's an episode that has Peggy Lipton. There's a lot of Twin Peaks actors that come in throughout this show too. Yeah, it's a fun show. It's one that's breezy. It's one that you can just put on and enjoy. So I recommend, especially there are 3 across multiple seasons episodes that have to do with Yang, who's a serial killer. Those are good, and the ones that have to do with international art thief Pierre Despereaux, as played by Carrie Elwes, are very good too. Those are all fun. One of those is the one that has Maginamic in it as well. One of the Despereaux ones. But yeah, good time, fun show. If you can hang with references and goofy humor and very quick banter too, it's a good time.
That's the one thing I'll be sort of sour on, because that, if that's just the joke, is the reference, to be like, oh, I remember that, and it just makes you like do that sensible chuckle, like
right.
It's kind of playing it safe.
Sometimes that's the case.
Yeah. There might be like
sometimes
a more reference to it,
but sometimes it's very specific.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like the funny part is just how specific the reference is too.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And like or like this one, in this one he kept going back to like Pretty in Pink or whatever, and I was just like it's Pretty in Pink, and they're like, never seen that movie, and it's like, oh, it's actually like this in Pretty in Pink, and it's like,
you like
never
Andrew
seen. It's
McCartney,
like, really?
yeah.
What have you guys seen? And like, yeah, Andrew McCarthy. Like, no. And then like finally he's like, oh, he's more like John Cryer in Pretty Pink, and then Gus is just like, how many times like no one's seen this movie in this town? It's just, I just don't believe it. You know what I mean? It's like reference is part of the joke, but then like it becomes part of a bit. You know what I mean?
Sure. Just the one I'm thinking of is like, I'm not gonna let you listen to the Weird Science theme song in the car.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's like, that's the joke. Just, yeah, you are. Or it's like, I'm going to anyway.
So maybe if I had to, like, these are not, because I thought this was somebody who doesn't have a history watching Psych. I've caught like a few, a little bit of a random episode a couple times here and there.
Yep.
But I'm not like you, Brunch, or I've like watched a bunch of the show.
Yeah, I've watched it a couple times. Yes.
A couple times.
Yeah.
But I did think that this was a good episode. But I think as far as like what maybe they could have done that they didn't do that would have been fun to see for references is something referencing like whether it be a phone call or I'm not sure, but somebody like addressing Diane and we just don't see Diane.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. You're right.
Or
we even got Thumbs Up guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we got Old Man Thumbs Up.
Yeah. Got crotchety old as fuck mayor too.
It would have or like actors. Like it would have been fun to see Michael Horse as in there as somebody, or the guy who played Bob.
Was he alive at that point still?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Like I'd have to see when this was like shot, but just playing like a normal ass dude, you know.
5, so that's 2010 or 11.
Oh, so I don't know. I'm not sure when the actor who played Bob passed away was, but like I know I was thinking too, we didn't get any sort of, there was no Everett McGill and there was no like Big Ed analog or Big Ed's Gas Farm.
Yep. I wonder what was things that they had ideas for but were just cut for time, you know?
Oh my god, there must have been so many. Like the writer's room for this one must have just been like, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this.
Yeah, remember, this is just a one-off, so it's not going to be like a four-parter.
It's got to buy credit for, forget, one, it might have been the showrunner or the creator, might have been one of the writers. credited. The other one was the guy who plays Shawn himself, co-wrote the episode. But yeah, I could just going back and forth like that because so many of those lines too. It's one of those shows where a lot of the lines are like improvised, or at least like, at like, or like parts are improvised and stuff like that. So I'm sure there's a lot of ideas that flow in that group, and yeah, I can about imagine it just fucking.
We gotta cut
There's
it
a
for
lot.
time, We gotta cut it. Like that's too much. Too many references. Can't
Yeah,
get
no
everybody.
Jacoby, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's all sorts of roles that weren't in there, but there's probably things that are like, what's important for the story that we're telling, and we'll include those. But
Yeah, there was no like Lucy Moran or anybody like that.
there was a character named Lucy, though.
There was, but
Her sister.
that
Um,
character archetype where she's like sheriff and she has like pencils stuck in her head.
Right. The guy who played Bob died in '95, so
Ah,
you were long dead at that point. Yeah, there's I'm gonna say, I don't remember.
Well, I know that we did make a brief mention of the scenery.
Yes.
I'll talk about that. I'll get to that one scene that we were just like, oh my gosh, it's beautiful.
it was like the intro. Yeah, somewhere right around here, right around there.
Yeah, a lot of the shots
Oh my
of just
God.
like
Yeah.
the big sprawling shots that they do. Of
Just
some
the
of
wanna-
those.
I
mountain
wanna be
peeking
there.
through the clouds right there. Oh my gosh.
I want to
Beacon?
spend 3 months camping there.
Right.
They had to probably evacuate like that area. Like, no, we got to shoot this shot.
Bears be gone.
That's
Bears.
such a crystal smooth lake, like it's just
Yep.
no waves, no ripples.
It's just reminiscent of some of those nice big, well, obviously where Laura died, right? But, a lot of those beautiful shots and peaks itself too. That's scenery.
Yeah, I don't know about the original show. It looks like it just takes place in Santa Barbara for the most part, but going away from
Yeah,
that,
they'll travel as needed, but yeah, primarily in Santa Barbara because they work for the Santa Barbara Police Department.
okay. But yeah, this is like way off the beaten path of Santa Barbara. This doesn't look anything like Santa Barbara. It looks like Washington. Washington State.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to be like Northern California or something like that.
Sure. Yeah, it's just scenic and beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
But
But
yeah,
yeah.
that's our discussion of Psych, Dual Spires.
I recommend you check it out.
Great little isolated episode. Yeah, has Broad Show's high recommendation, so definitely go check that out. Kept him awake. His dream soul didn't show up.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Dude, I've been excited to watch this the whole time since I first brought it up. It's really like that. I'm a man of
simple needs.
Yeah, like I could be easily entertained, and like Psych is one of those shows where it's like it's very easy. Like I said, you could almost pop, unless it's like one of a handful of episodes that have some continuity to it.
Mm.
You can usually just pop it on an episode and watch it whenever, and it's just one of those like easy watching, have fun, goofy, have a silly goose time, fucking shows.
It seems like you can just put it on and like even have it on in the background while you just like play a video game and just.
You could tune in and tune out because like the story's not that hard to follow. You know what I mean? Like it's straight ahead. Because it's a procedural, even though it's a comedy or whatever, it's still a procedural, right? So it still follows that generally, just with a comedic tilt to it. But yeah, this show still is very popular. They've done like 3 like TV movies for it since it's been done since it ended.
Mm-hmm.
Most recent one came out like 2 years ago, maybe.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
There's no way for this to come around full circle again, where
Mhm.
like you would have, because the only way to really do that by now is to have somebody like Kyle MacLachlan and so the two main actors from Psych here, maybe some of the related law enforcement people from this show too. But God, you'd have to have like the cast of people that have performed in Twin Peaks: The Return or other Twin Peaks stuff that are still around, doing like a Psych
Oh yeah,
like spoof kind of episode,
That'd be funny.
that'd be funny.
There's or just even in general, I would be interested to see somebody do a Psych spoofed episode. And I'm sure that people have played with the idea of maybe taking a procedural like Law and Order, and they do like a comedy episode where one of the detectives is like, "Oh, I'm having a psychic vision," or they like do a reference but not an entire episode.
Right. They do a thing. One of the references they make on and off throughout Psych is they'll bring up the show The Mentalist, because it came on like roughly like just after, or like a Psych came on, and it's a similar premise. So they'll bring that up as a little joke throughout it. Pretty funny.
That's great. And that's Mentalist is more of a drama than a comedy.
Yeah.
Like this is portrayed.
So it's like, oh, so it's like The Mentalist? It's like, no, it's not like that. Not like that.
Well, if you like this video and you like Psych and Twin Peaks, let us know. Hit that like button if you want, and leave comments if you've seen this. Definitely go check it out if you haven't, and then come back and give your review of this, or just say whatever you got to say about Psych in general. Really, I'm interested to know maybe your favorite episodes.
Yeah, that's there's a lot of good ones. A lot of good ones.
So yeah, if there's nothing else to add, want to thank my Broichi boys for being here, and Bracho for introducing this to us. I remember seeing it like vaguely, probably like halfway through at one point, because I knew it existed.
Right.
But yeah, that was like a long time after I remember like watching Twin Peaks, and it was really early in like my high school career where I watched Twin Peaks for the first time, and then that was probably when this was airing.
Yeah, I think Psych started in 2005.
Yeah, I was
maybe.
I was a junior.
Yeah, season 5 of this was 2010-ish. So, yeah.
So yeah, it's a long time coming to kind of revisit this, and yeah. And if people have other, shows that do reference to Twin Peaks, let us know that too, because I've tried to look myself. There might be something out there in other medias, so I haven't really looked in comic books or other things.
Yeah, I know there's stuff, like I said, in Gravity Falls, but I don't know episodes or anything of that. So if anybody knows what episodes of that to check out.
Yeah, where it was explicitly a Twin Peaks like
reference. Yeah, referencing episodes or scene or something like that from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, and we'll be back with eventually. We're gonna jump right into Fire Walk with Me.
We'll be back eventually.
We'll be back someday.
We'll see.
Well, just like Frosty the Snowman, wipe those tears away. What does Frosty say?
I do this every night with your son.
Well, just like Frosty. I don't remember. I don't remember the reference.
Just like Frosty, I don't remember.
I do this every night with your son.
I do this every night with your son.